History was made at First Energy Stadium on Sunday, but not in the way anyone expected. Yes, Myles Garrett finally broke the single-season NFL sack record that had eluded him for 3 agonizing weeks. Yes, the Cleveland Browns closed out a miserable season with a dramatic come-from-behind victory over the Cincinnati Bengals. But the real story, the one that has the entire football world buzzing and reevaluating everything they thought they knew about the Cleveland Browns, happened in the aftermath. What Myles Garrett said about Shedeur Sanders in his post-game interview wasn't just respect between teammates. It was a franchise legend anointing his successor as the face of the organization. It was validation. It was brotherhood. It was everything Browns fans have been desperately waiting to see for decades. Let me paint the picture for you because you need to understand the magnitude of what transpired. For 3 straight weeks, Myles Garrett had been chasing history. He was sitting at 22.5 sacks, just half a sack away from breaking the single-season record. Every game, opposing offenses schemed entirely around stopping him. Double teams, triple teams, chip blocks, quick passes, anything and everything to prevent Garrett from making history. The pressure was mounting. The frustration was building. And then came the season finale against Cincinnati, a game that would define legacies and reveal the true character of this Cleveland Browns team. For 3 quarters, it looked like the sack record would once again elude Garrett. The Bengals' offensive line was doing everything possible to protect Joe Burrow from the beast on the edge. Double teams on virtually every passing play, quick releases, maximum protection schemes. Garrett was being denied his moment, and you could see the frustration building with every snap. But champions find a way, and in the 4th quarter, with just 5 minutes remaining in regulation, the Bengals made a fatal mistake. They gave Myles Garrett a one-on-one matchup, and he made them pay. Garrett exploded off the edge, beat his man with a devastating speed rush, and brought down Joe Burrow for sack number 23. The single-season NFL sack record was his. The stadium erupted. His teammates mobbed him on the field in one of the most beautiful displays of genuine joy and camaraderie you'll ever see in professional sports. Defensive players, offensive players, coaches, everyone rushing to congratulate the man who just achieved something nobody in NFL history had ever done. 23 sacks in a single season while playing for a team with the worst offense in the league, meaning he had fewer opportunities than any record-chasing pass rusher in history. Think about that. Garrett set this record despite his offense being so bad that opponents rarely had to throw the ball because they were ahead on the scoreboard most of the game. That makes what he accomplished even more remarkable. When Garrett was asked about the moment, his response was humble and honest. Man, it was everything I expected. It was so tough. I knew they were going to make it difficult, but I don't think I saw more than 3 singles on a real drive the whole game. And I just knew that if I did, I have to make that moment count. And the feeling couldn't be better. 3 singles the entire game. That means the Bengals gave him one-on-one protection maybe 3 times all afternoon. And when they finally slipped up, when they finally gave him that opportunity, Garrett made it count. That's what legends do. They capitalize on their opportunities when they come. But here's where the story takes a turn that nobody saw coming, because while Myles Garrett's record-breaking sack is what everyone will remember from the box score, what happened after that moment is what will define the future of the Cleveland Browns franchise. With his team still trailing and the game on the line, Shedeur Sanders had to lead a game-winning drive. No excuses, no backup plan, just a rookie quarterback who'd been dealing with demons all week, thrust into the most pressure-packed situation imaginable, with his team's season finale and his franchise legend's historic moment hanging in the balance. And he delivered. Shedeur Sanders marched the Browns down the field with surgical precision, making clutch throw after clutch throw, converting 3rd downs, staying calm under pressure, and getting his team into field goal range for Dustin Hopkins to kick the game winner as time expired. Browns win 20-18. Myles Garrett gets his record in a victory. And Shedeur Sanders proves once again that he has the mental toughness and clutch gene necessary to be a franchise quarterback in this league. But what Myles Garrett said about that drive, about Shedeur Sanders, about what he witnessed from his rookie quarterback, is what has everyone talking. When asked about watching Shedeur and Dustin Hopkins drive down the field to set up the game-winning field goal, Garrett's response was powerful and telling. Once we got in field goal range, I knew he was going to seal it. This is the moment that he's been waiting for. God willing, he went out there and put it right down the middle. I was excited. I love winning. Read that again. I knew he was going to seal it. That's not hope. That's not wishful thinking. That's confidence. That's trust. That's a defensive superstar, a future Hall of Famer, a man who just broke one of the most prestigious records in football, saying that his rookie quarterback delivered in the clutch exactly when it mattered most. And then Garrett added something that perfectly captures the moment. So it didn't matter whether it's beginning of the season, end of the season, last game of the season. I'm just proud of him and glad to have a win. Proud of him. Myles Garrett, the face of the Cleveland Browns franchise for years, the man who has carried this team on his back through countless losing seasons, is saying he's proud of Shedeur Sanders. That's not just a teammate complimenting another teammate. That's a franchise cornerstone passing the torch. That's validation from the locker room leader that Shedeur Sanders is the real deal. That's everything Browns fans needed to hear. But to fully understand why this moment is so significant, you need to know what Shedeur was dealing with leading up to this game, because what he revealed in his post-game interview is absolutely stunning and gives you a window into the mental and spiritual warfare that this young man has been enduring all season long. When Shedeur was asked about his emotions during that final drive, his response was raw, vulnerable, and deeply honest. I'll say it's a lot. I'll say all week, I would say I've been dealing with a lot spiritually, like different battles that I had to overcome. I just had to overcome. So that's why my body language, everything was off. That's what it was. Spiritually, different battles, body language was off. Shedeur Sanders is telling us that he wasn't just dealing with football pressure. He was dealing with spiritual warfare, mental attacks, emotional turmoil, the kind of stuff that goes way deeper than anything that happens on a football field. Think about what this young man has been through. He's a rookie quarterback playing behind one of the worst offensive lines in NFL history. He's been sabotaged by a coaching staff that seemingly wanted him to fail so they could justify drafting his replacement. He lost his favorite target when Cedric Tillman went down with injury. He's had to deal with constant criticism, constant doubt, constant speculation about whether he's good enough. And on top of all of that, he's been dealing with spiritual battles that were affecting his mental state, his confidence, his body language. But here's where the story gets beautiful. Here's where you see what championship cultures are built on. Shedeur continued his explanation, and what he said next shows why this Browns locker room is special. Then we got into halftime. We got in the locker room, and close teammates, close friends, was like, "Hey, get back to being you." Lean on that you need in them crucial moments. Words of encouragement, a shoulder to lean on. Close teammates and close friends pulling him aside at halftime and telling him to snap out of it, to get his mind right, to remember who he is and what he's capable of. That's brotherhood. That's what real teams do. They don't let their quarterback drown in negativity. They lift him up. They speak life into him. They remind him of his greatness when he's forgotten it himself. And the results speak for themselves. Shedeur explained what happened after halftime. So then, as you see, right back after halftime, then we start getting our rhythm. We start being us. So I think today, overall, mentally, we won different battles. I think we won mentally. We won mentally. That's the key phrase right there, because this game wasn't just about physical execution. It wasn't just about making throws or running the right routes or getting pressure on the quarterback. It was about mental toughness. It was about overcoming adversity. It was about believing in yourself when everything around you is chaotic. The Browns won mentally, and that's why they won the game. Shedeur went on to explain the significance of that final drive, and his perspective shows the maturity of someone far beyond his years. I think going back to the final minute drives that we had a couple weeks ago and it wasn't successful, we was able to get that opportunity and be able to drive down the field and do what we did. Dustin being able to get back in that position, how it was, I knew the whole time he was going to be able to make it. So I think it was a bunch of different battles overall that we won today, and it started up here mentally. Think about what he's saying. Shedeur had failed in similar situations earlier in the season. He'd had opportunities to lead game-winning drives and couldn't finish. But instead of letting those failures break him, instead of carrying that weight into this moment, he learned from those experiences. He grew from them. And when he got another opportunity, He delivered. That's what franchise quarterbacks do. They don't let failure define them. They use it as fuel. Now, let me take you inside Shedeur's mindset because what he revealed about his mental approach to that drive is fascinating. When asked what he wanted to prove on that final possession, especially considering Myles Garrett's historic moment, Shedeur's response was perfect. I think all our goals and everything is aligned. So I don't think it's much more want to than that. I think the want to is to prove that I'm able to drive down the field and that a bad half doesn't define character, kind of how it was the other week. We had the same opportunity. So I think each week by week, it was building different things and accomplishing different things and being able to prove to myself, but not just myself, but this team and everybody that in certain situations I learn from, I grow from. A bad half doesn't define character. Let that sink in. Shedeur Sanders, a rookie quarterback who had struggled in the first half, is saying that adversity doesn't define who you are. Your response to adversity defines who you are. He had a rough first half. His body language was off. He was dealing with spiritual battles. And instead of packing it in, instead of making excuses, instead of letting that bad half snowball into a bad game, he reset at halftime, listened to his teammates, got his mind right, and came out in the second half a completely different quarterback. When asked what he saw on those crucial throws during the final drive, the comeback route and the crossing route that moved the chains and got them into field goal range, Shedeur's answer reveals what happens when a quarterback gets into a rhythm. I think it was just clicking, I think we got back a lot to what we've been doing, honestly. And I think being able to go through the keys and reads, like those are the stuff that I know like the back of my hand. So that's where reps and that's where all that different type of stuff come into play, to where you're able to execute each and every play, no matter what defense they're able to put out there. It was just clicking. That's what happens when preparation meets opportunity. Shedeur had put in the work. He knew his reads. He knew his progressions. He knew where to go with the football. And in that crucial moment, when the game was on the line and his team needed him most, all that preparation paid off. He executed flawlessly because he'd done the work. But I want to address something that Shedeur revealed that's incredibly important for understanding what he's been dealing with all season. When pressed about those spiritual battles he mentioned, Shedeur got even more real and vulnerable. I mean, I'm able to recognize it, but it's all in the mental. I think the devil, of course, is going to attack you different ways, people around you and everything. And honestly, this whole year has been a long year. It's been ups, downs, it's been different feelings. So you got to be able at some point in time to talk to people. Sometimes you got to lean on people also. The devil is going to attack you different ways. Shedeur is acknowledging that there are forces working against him, whether that's internal doubt, external criticism, sabotage from coaching staff, or just the crushing weight of expectations. It's all been attacking him mentally and spiritually. And he continued with something that shows incredible wisdom. So that's what my guys in there was able to come to life. That's whenever they talk to me. Nah, bro, do you. This ain't you right now. You know what I'm saying? That's the type of stuff that get you going. That's the type of positivity and stuff that you need around, that you need people to let you know who you are. You feel me? So continue being that guy. You need people to let you know who you are? That's profound because when you're in the trenches, when you're dealing with adversity, when you're being attacked from all sides, sometimes you lose sight of your identity. You forget who you are and what you're capable of. And in those moments, you need people in your corner who can remind you, who can speak truth into your life, who can pull you out of that dark place and get you back to being yourself. That's what Shedeur's teammates did for him at halftime, and that's why he was able to deliver when it mattered most. Now, let me tell you what Shedeur learned about himself this season, because this is perhaps the most important part of the entire story. When asked what he learned and how important it was to finish the season this way, Shedeur's response shows a level of self-awareness that most veterans don't possess. I learned what I like. I learned what I don't like. I learned what I'm seeing. I know what I see well. I know what I don't see well. And I learned a lot mentally. And I learned a lot emotionally, physically, everything. I think mentally it was how to deal with when things are going your way and when things aren't going your way, how to deal with feelings. How to deal with feelings. That's what this rookie season has been about for Shedeur Sanders. Not just learning how to read defenses or improve his footwork or master the playbook. It's been about learning how to handle the emotional roller coaster of being an NFL quarterback, of carrying the hopes and dreams of an entire franchise on your shoulders, of dealing with criticism and doubt and pressure unlike anything he'd experienced before. Shedeur continued with something that should be required reading for every young quarterback coming into the league. So that's what I feel like this year's about. I think it was one of those years that, how are you going to deal with the feelings? You could be not playing and feel some type of way, and you could be playing and feel the same way as if you didn't, as how you were when you weren't playing. So it's kind of like you got to create your own reality, and you got to have that nucleus of people around to be able, and it's not just your family, it got to be outside. Create your own reality. That's what franchise quarterbacks do. They don't let circumstances dictate their mindset. They don't let the noise affect their confidence. They create their own reality through their preparation, their self-belief, and their execution. And Shedeur is saying you can't do it alone. You need that nucleus of people, not just family, but teammates and friends who will speak truth into your life and lift you up when you're down. The locker room celebration after the game tells you everything you need to know about the bond this team has built. When asked what it meant to see all that euphoria, all that cheering and celebration, Shedeur's response captured the essence of what makes great teams great. I think that we got each other's back. I think without the defense, we wasn't going to be able to do anything, and I think without us as an offense being able to drive down the field, they did everything they could do. So that wasn't really going to be able to win the game. So I think the tough battle of us just leaning on each other, depending on each other in those key moments, that's how you build trust. That's how you build friendships. We got each other's back. That's the foundation of everything. Shedeur understands that football is the ultimate team sport. Myles Garrett can break the sack record, but it means nothing if they don't win. The offense can drive down the field, but it doesn't matter if the defense gives up points. Everyone has to do their job, and everyone has to trust each other. That's what championship teams are built on. What we witnessed on Sunday wasn't just Myles Garrett breaking the single-season sack record. It wasn't just the Browns closing out a disappointing season with a dramatic victory. What we witnessed was the convergence of two franchise cornerstones, one established and one emerging, having career-defining moments in the same game and then giving each other the ultimate respect in the aftermath. Myles Garrett, the defensive legend, the future Hall of Famer, the man who just made history, looked at his rookie quarterback and said, "I knew he was going to seal it. I'm proud of him." And Shedeur Sanders, the young quarterback who's been through hell this season, who's dealt with sabotage and criticism and spiritual warfare, delivered when it mattered most and showed why he's the future of this franchise. The Shedeur Sanders era in Cleveland is real. It's not a hope or a dream or a possibility anymore. It's reality. Because when the game was on the line, when everything was at stake, when his franchise legend needed him to deliver, Shedeur Sanders came through. And Myles Garrett saw it, acknowledged it, and validated it for the entire world to see. This is what Browns fans have been waiting for. This is what a franchise quarterback looks like. This is the beginning of something special in Cleveland. So what do you think about Myles Garrett's stunning speech about Shedeur Sanders? Do you believe this is the moment that officially launched the Shedeur Sanders era in Cleveland? What did you think about Shedeur's vulnerability in discussing his spiritual battles and how his teammates lifted him up? Do you think this Browns team, despite the 5-12 record, has something special brewing with these two franchise cornerstones aligned? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's get a real discussion going about what this moment means for Cleveland's future. If you want daily coverage of Shedeur Sanders and the Cleveland Browns, if you want the truth about what's happening with this franchise, if you want to be part of the journey as this young quarterback develops into a star, then you need to smash that subscribe button right now. Hit that notification bell so you never miss our coverage. Like this video if you believe in Shedeur Sanders and the future of the Browns. Share it with every Browns fan who needs to see this. The franchise quarterback and the defensive superstar are aligned. The foundation is being built. Let's ride with number 12. Let's go.